Specifically announced to be late. I said, make me the last one. I want to be the last one. But since I was waiting out there, I thought it'd be better actually come and spend some time with you in advance. Spend some time with you on time, which drag timing is never on time. Whoever was just at my booth, deepest condolences. And come back after this panel so I can sell you some Fetish and Fashion lip collection out now. Yeah, we're just going to wait for everybody in the meantime, and I'm going to delegate and play the Pup Master today.
My goodness. Season 1. Let's hear it for season 1. And this queen is known for giving glamour with the wig on and with the wig off. It's the one and only Ongina. I mean,
Is there steps up there? Oh my God.
she's got it. I promise that's her. I saw her before she put the head on. Okay, one more round of applause. I apologize. And of course, you already know Miss Fame, makeup artist to the stars, makeup guru to Elle magazine, queen of the universe. And now our last queen, last but not least, is a legend, the first crowned queen from season 1. You remember her from being featured in Paper magazine when she won. The legendary Bebe, Zahara, Benet.
Because I never dressed up to go to a club. Yeah, I never did. My first experience with drag was, actually going to Paris and doing some work. I was actually a male model working, and then I went to Paris. That was the first time I did the I would say cross-dressing. I know people don't want to use the word cross-dressing, but it really is. That's when I started dealing with like female garments. And then when I moved to the United States, I was just immersed in the culture. I was immersed in the drag culture, and I started it right from the get-go as an artist, because my first time in drag was with Cyndi Lauper, like full-on drag, was with Cyndi Lauper. She was coming to Minneapolis and she wanted to do Girls Just Want to Have Fun, and she was looking for somebody to go on stage with her. So of course, I knew one of the board members of Pride, and so I got casted as one of those girls, and that's when I got into like full regalia, complete drag.
And did you do the drag yourself, or did they tell you the kind of look?
Oh, baby, at that point I was still very young, baby. I was, but we had designers and we had makeup artists, and that's, that was my first time to be like fully, completely done up from head to toe. And after that, it was just,
You were hooked for life.
I was hooked for life, yeah.
I love it. And how about you, Miss Fame?
What was the question?
Where are you? When's lunch? No, the question was, the first time you ever did drag to go out to a club or did drag yourself, what was the look?
Well, that chicken farm was not. It was a limited platform. I remember trying on heels at a young age and then evolving in secret. There was always these little moments that I was doing on my own, like finding my grandma's eyeliner and then trying to wash that off, and it didn't work. That was trouble. And then we had a tiny little bar in the town I grew up in. That's where drag started.
What town was it, or what state?
Central California, San Luis Obispo, California. So that's where I started. And then when I moved to New York 7 years ago, I had already been dressing, but it wasn't full drag. It was always what I could afford, which was like spandex pants with a platform boot from a sex shop. No wig, because there was no good wigs in the cities I was in. I wasn't looking for that full fantasy yet. What I had was a small bag of makeup, and I was able to transform that. New York was my platform to break through, and I It was going to the Ritz. My first performance was at the Ritz. And drag fashion was evolutionary, but it happened somewhat quickly. Just getting brought into music video sets, working with different talents. I remember working with Stephen Klein in the beginning, but it was one of many New York performers and artists. It was just an amazing honor to be in the room with such an iconic photographer and hearing the positive things that you need to hear sometimes to know you're on the right path from people you respect. Not that it always needs to be positive, sometimes you work your best when it's not in your favor, so you fight for what you want. But then it opened the door that I could potentially be a part of the fashion story that is a part of New York's culture.
And Ongina,
Hi.
your first time in drag.
So actually, my first time in drag was my 23rd birthday, but for print purposes, I always say the 21st because it's better. I went to Hero, second floor of Hero, whatever, and it was my birthday party. And I remember I was always like infused in this group of people that were so carefree and loving and fashionable, and I was like, I can do that. So at that time I was kind of like playing around with wigs and stuff, so I had my friend put tracks on my hair and then like, you know, flat iron it and everything, and it was a real hot mess. But it was my birthday, so I was feeling everything and all of it. So that was really like my first time like getting into geesh. I didn't really have a lot of makeup, much like in season 1 of RuPaul's Drag Race. I wish I had the blurry vision like with me the whole night. That would have been really helpful. But that was really like the first time. And then right after that, what I considered to be full drag, because I put on like spackle makeup that looked like a hot mess. I used to work at Bebe.
So, fashion brand?
Yeah.
Wow.
I used to work at, a lot of people know us as Bebe. No, I didn't work for you ever. I know, right? Yes, we do. I mean, it's appropriate. Her name is Bebe. But I remember wearing like this really stupid low V, like shiny Lurex sweater from Bebe and like sequin shorts, and like remember when pointed toe back in the day was like really pointed toe, but they came out like 4 inches from your toe. Like you know what I'm talking about? Now it's like really cute and sexy, and you have like that little cute like toe cleavage, but this one was like MILF? So that's what I was wearing, and I was living and loving.
Marc Jacobs. And do you closely follow the collections? We're in the middle of Paris Fashion Week. Do you follow what's going on in the shows and just incorporate that into your looks?
I am the looks.
Thank you for coming, Benet.
Of course, inside of my mind, I have a big vision for what I would like to see break through for my area of drag that I really wanted to. I was modeling also as a man in the beginning, and then it didn't avail me money. It wasn't paying my rent. It was me aspiring for maybe a breakthrough, but it was art, and I was always told it wasn't right. And they told me why. They said I was too feminine, and it didn't go hang out in a butch bar, and like I was being told in my face by people that didn't matter, and I thought it mattered. And then when I was as Miss Fame, I was validated and celebrated, and I could be who I was without having to be in alignment with somebody else's concept of me. It just worked. I could fully embrace my femininity. That's a hard word, femininity. She needs some sugar. She started to do. But it's one of those things that I found that it worked for me to kind of set my bar. And every time I achieved something, I was like, I want the next thing. There's certain things I don't think I could do. I don't know if I could ever go back to Drag Race. It's a scary experience. It takes a lot of talent and nerve and charisma and uniqueness to go back into that platform. And to remember everything. I have a lot of respect for all of us that have done it and that have gone back to be all-stars because you earned that title and you earned that crown because you have the talent to carry that. So it's really amazing. Our stories just validated Emmys. We are a part of the collective consciousness of success in our queer community. It's fucking brilliant.
Bebe, are there designers that you particularly love to wear, or do you consider what you want your look to be and find people to create that as opposed to wearing a recognizable designer?
You know, I'm the opposite. I'm really not a designer girl. like I've never been. I think that I love just fusing. I always think I define my fashion as global glamour. You know, I like to fuse things from all parts of the world. I mean, when you've traveled and you've met so many different cultures and amazing cultures and races, I try to like incorporate that in my drag. And I don't really go out seeking for like a designer brand or associate myself with other designers, but I create my own thing. Yeah, I create my own vision. Yeah.
Love it. Ongina, what about you?
What was the question?
Are there designers that you're particularly attracted to?
I do. I mean, I worked in fashion actually for 15 years. I did
with Bebe, we know.
Yeah, we did.
Benet.
So because of that, no, visual merchandising for Intermix, which is like a contemporary brand that sells like designer brands as well. So because of that, I've had exposure to high-end brands and contemporary brands. So because of that, I kind of get inspiration from fashion. One of my other inspiration is my friend Chuck, who's sitting right here with the New York hat.
Stand up, Chuck, because everybody needs to see. Stand up and spin.
So he basically, even at 1:30 in the morning, he'll text me when the new Runway, like Celine just came out last night, and he's like, girl, 3 looks from Celine by Slimane. And I was like, okay, I'm calling my local designers because obviously I can't afford Celine. Do you know what I mean? So I have to go buy like Santee Alley fabric in LA and then recreate it for like much less, but with a little bit touch of Ongina. So no, not really a lot of high-end designers these days because I'm trying to save for a house, but I still care about my look. I call it like the 10-year glow up. Because there's one time in my career between after Drag Race and like 4 years into it that I was just wearing like tutus, and I would wear it as dresses, as vests, one shoulder, and it had every color, and it was gross.
Not a crown. Whether Shangela won or she did not win, Shangela is doing Shangela.
Yeah, she's
you know,
a winner.
Trixie is doing Trixie. Everybody is doing what they're doing, and all they're asking is, well, baby, if I'm standing and being your ambassador, all I need you is to give me some gas so I can keep going and putting up that flag for you, right? So,
Yeah, even though Bebe beat me. I mean, you know, obviously she won that by taking off her wig without flowers underneath her wig.
I don't need to have flowers under my wig when I can give you Wakanda realness.
I keep
with no wig and see how beauty looks with no wig.
I keep losing to Bebe. I lost to her in season 1, I lost to her in All Stars 3, I'm losing to her right now. Goddamn, give me some. Give me a little bit, okay?
You know I love you, we are bonded for life. You know that.
She's my
I
sis.
still don't like Stronger by Britney Spears because that was strong.
Never play that around me, I will punch you in the neck.
By the way, the wig did not come. That one I did intentional when I did All Stars 3, I intentionally took that wig off because it was Deborah Cox and I was filling my puss and I was like, it's coming off. But when we did Stronger, bitch, that wig was actually gonna come off.
Why are you getting mad? Stop screaming at me.
This man has totally jumped the rails.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just here to watch.
We're gonna come back to the subject.
I'll answer my question. Let's re-round right back to the center.
Let's bring it back to Miss Faye.
This is
Actually, if anybody has any questions, raise your hands because I would.
To this handsome
Why don't we start with that?
creature right here. Can you say it loud?
Fairly legal gentleman, maybe.
Oh, I'll just say, I went home 7. I didn't win the show. I was not a top contender. I could not remember my lines due to fear. I literally lived in anxiety on that show because it's not my game. So when I left the show and came back, I said, fuck that shit, I'll show these bitches what's up, and I'm gonna work my ass off. And I worked my ass off. Okay? I did, and I focused on my talent because guess what? We all have a talent. We sometimes don't know what it is on that show. I knew I was a makeup artist, a visual artist. I'm better at visuals than I am at lip syncs because that fucking fell apart for me. And fast forward to the moment I was able to get the agencies I wanted, IMG, Wilhelmina. I was able to walk in Paris and walk in I was able to play in space in fashion and carve out an identity. I'm still the first queen to have these 2 major agencies to back me. And I feel like I need more support because we all do, because it's like the ego's this big. And I try to keep it right size because I'm still a person behind this fighting for space.
and I'm aware of the time, and I'm aware of Drag Race, and what's happening on the show now is that we're living in hyperspeed. I have to post about 20 pictures on Instagram today to make my point clear of what I'm doing here, because I'm building an empire for my future so I can buy a house. Are you illegal?
I am very much legal. I'm 24.
Okay.
I'm a Gemini.
Oh,
But I'm engaged. But I'm engaged.
congratulations.
Ah, you thirsty bitches.
Raise your hand. I'm married too. Sorry, it's a problem.
So your husband is handsome.
In a box? Okay.
Yes. In addition to your beauty, your perseverance is why we also love you. So thank you for sharing your story with us. All three of you are phenomenal.
Four.
And
Thank you.
I love papers, so of course I
It's
support
not
you.
about me today. Thank you.
I just want to know, what are some fashion trends that you see on the horizon for 2019 that you're excited for, and which are ones that we should avoid?
I hate trends. I don't know if you guys.
I don't follow.
The Ongina trend I love, the Miss Fame trend I love. I think it's all about being yourself. If people ask me trends, I say I love sparkle. That's all I love.
The thing is like, fashion is, I feel like, I feel that fashion is what you wear, style is what you are, right? Like, if you have style, that is who you are. So if you want to wear a rice hat, with rice stones, like, whatever, like, do it. The thing, right, exactly, with Louboutins, like, you can do that. But what I'm saying is, it's like, fashion is what you wear, style is what you are. And I think that every single person has a different style. And trends, yes, there are like fashion forecasts and trends that happen, and streetwear is a really big trend right now. And that can be, translated many different ways depending on your style. So it's not so much like what to avoid or what to wear. I think it's what you're confident in being, who you are as your style.
I want to add to that real quick. Drag is on trend right now. Brands will want to use drag queens right now. I have been used in branding. I've also known, I'll say this, pay the queens you hire for your brand, because you are using us to catalyst the hype around the queer community. So, make sure that I can pay my rent and feed my dogs and myself if you want to use any queen, because we've all started getting hired for brands. And if this passes, if anything changes in the trend idea, because trends happen with certain looks, that it girl of the season, if that happens to shift on us, please still support your queer community in fashion to make sure that we still have a place within the identity of the future. Please don't compartmentalize us and set us to the side, because it needs to continue to open doors, not shut them just because it's 2020 now and that's not the look. So because I know it from the inside, we need to make sure that we are still hireable in all arenas, all the time, regardless. Just saying. Love you.
I'll use a lovely projection. You must be
She looks beautiful too. She's giving us, what are you giving? Like,
You tell me.
it's something.
Like 50s house.
It's a little bogey. It's a bit bogey.
I'll take it. This question's for all three of you. Bebe, you mentioned Wakanda realness. Hollywood and films influence a lot of us in our looks. Are there any films that have inspired your style and any of your iconic looks that you've served up?
Oh my god, I know this for you.
What do you know? Get it
Oh,
out.
go ahead.
Was that question for me or for all three of
For all of
us?
us.
Angina, you start.
All this gay on gay violence.
We love each other, guys, as you can tell.
Okay, if I can be honest, like when I watch film, I watch it for like storyline, and obviously sometimes the visuals. I don't really fully pay attention to like the fashion unless it's like really out there, right? Like the Element. I think you were inspired by what's his name with the leopard. You guys didn't get it? Never mind.
Siegfried and Roy?
No.
The character that's in the film.
What did they? Yeah.
That's the alien.
No, that's the alien.
Never mind. We just got way way off topic, but
We'll edit that out later.
there's definitely a lot of inspiration in movies, especially the ones that are amazingly styled and or CGI, right? So, but if you're talking about Marvel Universe, Wakanda, whatever, I want to be Rogue. But no, I think there's a lot of inspiration there. I personally don't look at movies and get inspired by them fashion-wise. I get inspired by like designers doing runway shows, and like people on the street, and like I said, streetwear. Like I'm one to follow the trend of streetwear. Like I love that element, but I kind of do it my own way. But it's just like that's kind of where I find inspiration.
Yeah, I like Joan Crawford. Marlena Dietrich, the essence of glamour, and Lady Evangelista, who really embodied all of the magic back in the day. And I've always, I literally look through 90s supermodels as my references every time because it's stuff that we keep going back to. And then we're referencing references. That's all we're doing.
Yeah.
We're recycling again, and everything's a hodgepodge. And fashion's inspired by us because if you go back on the board, you'll see that they'll have Thorky's wig on the Marc Jacobs collection a few seasons back. So queens are literally inspiration, and then we're wearing their stuff, which is in tribute, like the synergy between all parties involved. So that's the way to make it right for everybody doing it.
To me, of course, Black Panther, you know. I love that I could see myself. Black Panther was a big one. Avatar. I love Apocalypto with Mel Gibson. Have you guys watched that movie? Yeah, well, go watch it. It's amazing. Apocalypto, and then I can go as far back as Dynasty.
Yes.
Do you like the new
Yes,
Dynasty
you know, the
reboot?
classic dolls, no Dynasty, right?
Do you like the current Dynasty?
Nope. Absolutely not. The old Dynasty was dynamite. Like, it was so cheesy, but those fashions were right, baby.